Hi, everybody. This is Diane, the Creative Inkster. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ontario, Canada. I'm going to show you how to make this fun card. It's a fun fold card. So let's get started. We're going to need some minimal supplies to get going, but it's kind of a different layout that you can try to make and step up your cards a little bit. Here's how it folds open. The one I'm going to do today is in Mossy Meadow. And I'm also using the Art Gallery photopolymer stamp set and dies, as well as the nested labels dies. These are the two nested labels dies that I'm using here. They measure roughly about 2 inches wide, and the other one is 2 3/8 inches wide. You could use any kind of die cut piece, or you could also, if you wished, use just your paper trimmer and just cut the pieces. All right, so your card base is 7 by 5.5, scored at 2 3/4, and that folds over, and that's your card base. We're going to have an open end here. You're going to need a piece of Whisper White or Basic White to go on the inside at 2.5 by 5 1/4. That goes in here. We're going to emboss this piece, which is 1.5 by 5 1/4, and put it here. Then we're going to layer up the front. This piece is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. Onto that, we're going to layer a piece that is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4, and then a piece of pattern paper, which is the Art Floral Suite as well, 2 inches by 5 1/4. Just get some matching paper in there and you'll be good to go. So that's what our layered up piece is going to look like. So let's get these pieces glued down first, and then we'll get on to the fancy stuff. This paper is gorgeous. It has lots of bold, beautiful colors. And it is still in our line and available until June 30th. And then it will disappear. We're going to put these pieces on the front together first off. And you can actually stick that right onto the front of your card because we're not wrapping any ribbon around it. But adding those extra layers just adds a little bit more to it and gives it more of a punch on the color. All right, so we'll pull that up just a little bit. There we go, because they're all 5 1/4 in height, and the actual card base piece is 5 1/2. We can put the white piece in. I'm going to leave a little bit of a border all the way around it as well. So it's 2 1/2 by 5 1/4. And then before we do anything more, we're going to get some die cutting and some embossing done. So we'll set that aside for now. Bring in the die cutting machine. This is our Stampin' Cut and Emboss. I'm going to use the painted texture embossing folder, and I'm going to emboss this strip here. And it doesn't matter if it goes in there crooked at all, because it is supposed to be sort of an all-around pattern. There's no defined pattern to it. Oh, I got my handle on the other side. That's okay. We'll run this through. And you will see a beautifully embossed piece. There we go. There's our embossed piece to go in the front. We're not going to put that down yet either, though. Just want to get this switched around. Now it's time to grab some scraps and cut these angled pieces out. So for this, on the Stampin' Cut and Emboss, you need plate 1, plate 2, which is more like a shim, plate 3, which is the acrylic. And you put your paper down, and then you will put your die on top. We can get 2 on here at the same time. So I'm putting the smaller one on the white and the larger one on the Mossy Meadow. Grab the acrylic plate to go on top. And we'll run that through. All right, these nested shapes are going to be retiring. So they are available now until May 3rd. 2 pieces like that. You'll see we're going to trim them off and we're going to hide a little piece behind there. So I'm just going to take a look at our piece and how far over we actually need everything to line up. So if we want to layer it, we want at least 2 3/8. Actually, if I go from the point there, 2 1/4 from the white point has to we need. So we're going to score along here. So right where the point comes out like that, I grab a scoreboard and score it several times just to make it nice and firm. And that's going to fold around, and that's what's going to hold it in place for this flipping mechanism. And it's going to be hidden underneath there. Okay, so we'll do the same on the green. So actually on the white, we're going to trim that piece right off. It's just going to go right to the edge. We're going to trim that piece off. So on the green, we have a score, and on the white, we have a cut. All righty, let's do some stamping before we put this together. First things first. So we'll get the greeting of best wishes, which is a nice one from this set that will fit along here. So you'll see I keep extras in my case, and I also keep my dies in the case when I store them. That's how I store them. All right, so grab my block and my best wishes, and I'm going to grab my mossy meadow. Let's get that on here, and we'll just stamp that up to the far right, but below the stitching line. There we go. And we're going to also die cut out that flower as well. I'm going to show you a little trick with the flower as well. Tuck that away. So for our mossy meadow side that's going to make this mechanism, we're going to fold it on its score line. We're going to grab the bone folder and give it a good press so that it's going to be able to sit down there and comfortably go back around. The more you work with it and play with it, the more that's going to work out well. So I'll take my Stampin' Seal and run adhesive down the edge of that point. This is great when you get this sticky stuff on your craft paper. You can just go ahead and just wipe it literally right off. I'm not too concerned about how far down it goes on the card. That's going to be okay. The concern or the focus is going to be on getting the fold right up against the edge of the card like that. And I'm just going to run my bone folder over it to help it stay nice and sealed down. And then I'm going to stick this piece over top that we embossed. And there, that's going to hide that little seam quite nicely. So you could do, instead of 2 colors, instead of the white and this, you can put a full 4 by 5 1/4 inch layer to hide the seam if you wanted here. That just adds a little bit more dimension so that when the card is like this, you don't see the white. So a couple of options there for sure. So now that this is in place, I do want to give it a nice press. And now we're ready to add the white. And these nested dies that are stitched, they just fit so beautifully together. And I'm going to actually butt this one up against the right side. This piece over here is going to be covered with the flower. Some adhesive to the back of that. I will line this up to the right. Get my stitching even. There we go. That looks pretty good. And then I was going to put a little ribbon or a bow. I think this time I'll just do a knot with the ribbon. There we go. I'm going to put it on once I get my flower in place. Just going to trim off the excess and set that there. So this is the matching fine art ribbon, which goes lovely together with that. Here is the white, basic white that I'm using to do my stamping on. So to get the two-tone color of this flower, I am actually using one ink pad and two stamps. How's that going to work? Well, one's going to be stamped off once. So over here, I have my scratch paper. A little bit more space here. And my scratch paper, that's where I'm going to stamp off. So grab my block and I will do this one stamped off. So this is the fuller of the two. There's one that goes on as the definition. So I'm going to stamp this off once and then stamp it onto my basic white. So there's the lighter color. And then I'll just flip my block over, grab the other one, and I'm going to do this stamping full strength. I'll line it up over here and press it down, and there you go. And that's how you get the two-tone color on it. Okay. Now we're ready to die cut that out. The die cutting machine back in. Here we go. And the die for this one. So once again, with die cutting the same way, we're going to use the plate number 1 and 2, and then the acrylic, which is number 3, your paper, your die, and then an acrylic plate number 3 on top again. That's the sandwich for your die cutting. There we go. Away, and there's our pretty flower. And this is going to go on the end here, a little bit on an angle. I'm going to add a couple dimensionals to pop it up. 2, 3. I want to make sure when they go on there that A, they're not covering my word, and B, they're not sticking over. I don't want my dimensionals to stick over, or they'll stick to the card. All right. There we go. Looking good. And now I'm ready for my bow. Just need my 2 dots. Add this on here. And there we go. Just adds a little bit of sparkle. Oh, one last thing. I wanted to add my metallic pearls. They come in silver and gold, and I think I use the gold way more than the silver. So I'm just going to put a few of those in the center. Add a little bit of pretty to it. Get that a little bit closer. There we go. All right, and there is the other version. The same card. I hope you'll give this a try and let me know how it works out for you. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.